Um, Eric, I need your help. I don't have any money. What? No, I'm not asking for money. My old teacher came to see me. What? She discovered you didn't submit your project 15 years ago? No, she told me I was going to be delivering a speech at the graduation ceremonies at my old school. Well, that's quite an honor. You should accept. I didn't have a choice. She already put my name in the program. Okay, but what's your problem? I don't know what to put in my speech. I don't have a topic. Oh, well, that is a problem. Coming up with a topic for your speech can be quite challenging, especially if you're not a public speaker. Or if you're a Toastmaster, then you're probably new to the organization. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you several techniques that I use to come up with my topics or my messages. Now, the first technique that I can share with you is to first of all find out what the event is all about. Now, in that play acting that I made earlier, the event was a graduation ceremony. Now, it may be also that you may be invited to deliver a speech for a wedding, for example, right? You're the best man or you're the one of the bridesmaid or the maid of honor, then you can be asked to deliver a speech for the wedding. Now, maybe you are invited to attend a convention and you're asked to speak before the attendees. So that is also a possibility. So that is how you come up with your topic. First of all, you have to tailor your speeches for the event. Now, the second technique is to first of all, or the second is to second of all, find out who the audience is. What are their ages? Are they children? Are they teenagers? Are they adults? Or are they senior citizens? Whatever. Or maybe all of them are composed of men. Or maybe all of them are women. Or maybe they are composed of visitors from another country. So again, you would tailor your speech to fit the audience as depending on their composition. Now, the most or probably the best source of topics that you can come up with would come from your own experiences. So these are what you experienced, things that that happen to you, or maybe things that you hear, things that you see, maybe even smell or touch, coming from the five senses. But they may also come from things that you learn, right? Things that you read from books, magazines, newspapers, even things that you hear from other people, right? Things that people say to you, things that people say to each other that you overhear. These can be elements for your speech. Now, if you are going to use, for example, your own experiences, the best way to use them is to use them in a story, right? So you have an experience, so you use a story to tell the audience about that experience. Okay, so maybe you might say, okay, I think I can come up with a topic based on my experiences or things that I've learned, or maybe things that I'm interested in, right? Say hobbies or even sports or whatever, right? But how can I weave those stories so that I can give something to the audience, something that they can take away? Okay, maybe you mean that you want to you have an inspiring message, or maybe you want to give a lesson. Now, again, depending on what the event is and on the audience. For example, let's use that example that I gave earlier, right? My play acting, where my friend was asked to deliver a speech in front of the students, their teachers, and the parents. So, who are you going to address your speech to? Would it be the children? Would it be the teachers, or would it be the parents? Or maybe you want to address the children and the parents, so depending on who you want to talk to. So, what can you talk about? So, let's say that for me, this is my example, so let's take my example, right? I could take stories from my experiences as a student in that school, right? Things that I did, things that my classmates did, things that we talked about, maybe even mischief that we that we made, right? Things that we did that may be embarrassing, but you can use those stories to come up with a message. Let's just say, for example, right? I had a teacher who, let's say that she or he was my favorite teacher, and he spoke about math, or he taught math. Now, let's say this teacher would come into the classroom, and then she'd say 2 times 3, 5 times 8, 6 times 5, right? And then that teacher, if you didn't answer correctly, or if you didn't answer right away, she would make you stand for a few minutes, and until she got tired of calling people to, answer her for questions. Okay. So in my case, yeah, that did happen. I had a teacher who was like that. And I really enjoyed those things. And one of the things that happened to me, right, was that I was forced to learn my multiplication table by memory. These days, a lot of teachers teach, right? Okay, 1 times 2. Okay, you take 1 and then you take another 1, so you have 2. And for me, that's a little too slow, right? But if you memorize the multiplication table, well, you can multiply in your head almost instantly. And that's what I learned from my teacher. And over the years, right, I learned, to calculate things in my head, and that helped me in my work, because sometimes I didn't have a calculator available, and in those days we didn't have cell phones, so there were no calculators for cell phones. So learning how to memorize the multiplication table, even the addition and subtraction and division, that helped me with my work. And so that's how you can come up with a topic. That story maybe might seem ordinary, right? It might seem insignificant, but you can find the message that you want to convey through that story. So, yeah, those are the things that you can do to come up with topics and to come up with a message within that topic. Now, if you are a Toastmaster, or if you have a desire to, be delivering speeches every now and then, how do you come up with ready-made topics? So again, this will be from my own experience. This is what I do. I had a little notebook and a pen, of course. And what I do is every time I think of a topic, I take that notebook and I write that topic down. And then as time goes on, sometimes I think, I think that would be a good point to put into that topic or that speech. So I'd open the notebook to that particular topic and I'd add that point. And then over time, I would come up with several topics with their own different points. So if I want to come up with a speech, then I'd look over my topics, that little notebook, and come up with, choose a topic from that notebook. And of course, again, what is the event? Who are the audience? I would look and see, would this topic be appropriate for that event or for that type of audience? Yeah. These days, I use my cell phone. Yeah, I use the note function on my cell phone quite a bit, and that has helped me keep track of the topics that I want to convey for my speeches. And yep, that's it. Those are the methods that I use to come up with topics for my speeches and the messages that I want to convey in that speech. I hope you learned something. And yeah, I also learned something while I was making this video. I am going to experiment again with other methods, other techniques that would hopefully make these videos a lot more interesting for you. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.